So away from the theme installation, after successfully installing your theme, on this episode, I want to show us how we can make our blog posts. How you can make a blog post on your site. I'll be showing us two different stages to making the blog post. The first one, we're going to take what I consider as important things they must have while making your blog post. So still on your WordPress dashboard, which is your back end, right under dashboard, there's a section for posts there. I'm saying posts. You click on posts, you're going to see this add new button showing up here, and it's also showing right here on the sidebar under all posts. Proceed to click on add new. So this is the interface of adding your blog post. Like I said, I want to show us four must do things on this end. The very first thing you need to add is actually your title, the title of your post. So I'm going to come in here where I have the add title. I'll use, okay, let me write the story on this. President Tinubu emerges as ECOWAS chairman as a title. So the very first thing is actually the title. The second thing is the body. Talking about that's a story now. How President Tinubu emerges as the ECOWAS chairman. So you need to write something on this story. But then let me use this opportunity to introduce an AI tool known as ChatGPT. Some of us might know it already. I want to use ChatGPT to actually develop content on this story. President Tinubu emerges as ECOWAS chairman. So I'm going to go to the site. The ChatGPT site is chat.openai.com. Chat.openai.com. The link is showing on the screen right now. If you go to chat.openai.com, you can sign up for an account. By the time you finish signing up, you get this interface. This interface showing where you can actually have a chat interface here where you can send a message. So this is what I want to do. I want to tell ChatGPT to write something on this story I want to make. President Tinubu emerges as ECOWAS chairman. So I come back to ChatGPT and I say, write an article on President Tinubu's emergence as ECOWAS chairman. Then I hit the enter button. So ChatGPT is actually going to develop the content for me, as you can see, which is happening right now, on President Tinubu's emergence or ascension as ECOWAS leader. So I basically have my content written already, as you can see. ChatGPT actually titled it President Tinubu's historical emergence as ECOWAS chairman, a new era of regional leadership, which you can also decide to use that as our title if you want. You can decide to copy this title now. President Tinubu's historical emergence as ECOWAS chairman, a new era of regional leadership. You can decide to use that. Then to copy this whole content so I can use it on my blog, there's a copy icon right here beside this title. If I click on this, copy, that means I've been able to copy this entire content. So I go back to my body. I can Ctrl V here, that means paste. So practically, I have the body of my story. I can take out this title given by ChatGPT since I've written my title already up there. So taking it out, then I have the body. So the second thing is actually the body. The third thing, for some of you, you might see a sidebar showing on this right hand side. In case you don't see it, if you click on this icon, the one showing beside publish, which is the setting icon, if I click on it, I'm going to have this sidebar showing. If you don't see it, just come beside publish as a setting icon and click on it. On that setting, there are two different segments, two different sections. I have the post, I have the blog. Sticking with the post now. Under the post, there are different segments. I have, for instance, under summary, visibility, which I have public showing right in front. That implies if I publish this post now, the public is going to see it. It's going directly to my front end. But then beyond public, I have some other options like private, which is only visible to site admins and editors. Then I have password protected. That means I can decide to put a password for whatever reason, if there's a case like that. But then we are sticking with public. The next thing I have is published. Then I have immediately in front, which implies if I publish this now, immediately it is actually going to my front end. But then beyond publishing immediately, I can decide to schedule my posts for a particular day, maybe set it for tomorrow, and specify the time as well. But then we're not doing that, we're sticking with immediately. So I'm going to come here and click on now. I'm publishing this immediately. Then under the publish is URL, which is actually the direct link to this post we are making. In case you want to share the post and give someone, it will copy that direct link. If they click on it, they land directly on our website, our blog post itself, this particular blog post. Away from that, I have these two check boxes. The first one, stick to the top of the block. If I check that, that means I want this particular post I'm making to be at the top of my blog. The way it works normally is your latest posts are always going to show first. You make a post now, it's just going to show first. By the time you make the other one, another one after, that one takes the first position. But then in case you want to stick a particular post to the top of the blog, just to make it show at the top, either it's old or not, that's what a checkbox is. And then we have the pending review. If you're not sure yet, you want to make it as a draft, which is also showing up here as saved draft. Away from that, we have the post format, which is always going to be standard. And then we have the author. I'm the only admin or user on this end, so I'm the one that is authoring or that authors this post and made this post. But then in case you have more than one admin, which we're going to be seeing later on, I decide to give another person the credits of this post. So I can always decide who the author is here, but then for now we have just one. And then the last thing under the summary is the trash. Move to trash. In case you want to delete, you can actually move it to trash. So that's the summary. But then the third thing I'm going to show us, don't forget, we've taken the headline or the title, we've taken the body. Now what I want to show us is what is called the categories. The categories. I want to make sure this post I'm making falls under a category. I need to go to categorize this post. So, judging from the title, Tinubu emerges as ECOWAS chairman. This is a political news. So I'm going to create a category and call it or name it politics. I click on add new category. They'll ask me for new category name. I'm going to type in politics there. And I go on and hit on add new category. This button here. And you'll see it showing here, politics, check. And this story I'm adding falls under the politics category. Falls under the politics category. Away from category now, the last thing I'm going to be showing us on this end, don't forget the 4 basic things, is what we call the featured image, which is showing right here. The featured image. The featured image is that image that actually features along with a particular story. Wherever you have the story appearing or showing, the image follows or shows along with that story. So I want to set a featured image. I click on that, set featured image. I'm going to have two different sections here. I have the section for media library, which is going to store every single thing it is you've uploaded. It's a new database, so you might not have anything showing. So if you don't have anything showing in your media library, you have the other section for upload files. You can just click on select file. It will take you to the storage of your laptop, your media library, and then select the image you intend to use. So I've selected this now, and then I can come down here and click on set featured image. That means I want this image to be my featured image. So I have it set. Again, those four things: the title, which is very important, the body as well, equally important, the category of the post you're adding, and the last thing is the featured image. We've skipped some things, but then we'll come back to take them. For now, let's stick with these four basic things: the title, the body, the category, and the featured image. And then when you're done, you come up here where you have the publish button showing. Publish. I'm going to hit that publish button. That means I want this thing, I want the story to go live. Hit on the publish. It's going to ask me, are you ready to publish? I click on publish again. Now I have it. President Noble emerges as ECOWAS chairman is now live. That means whoever comes to my front end will be able to see that particular story. So if I go to my front end, which is showing like this now, and I actually refresh, I have it showing like this: President Tinubu emerges as ECOWAS chairman. I have just a single blog post there showing on my front end, as you can see, and the categories as well showing with it. So that is a simpler way of adding your blog post with those four different things: the title, the body, the category, and then the featured image. After adding my blog post, as you can see on this end, what happens if I want to go back to my WordPress dashboard? All you have to do is to come down to this W button at the top left corner, click on it. It takes me down to my WordPress dashboard. I'm still on that post. This is the one I just made. Now I want to add a new blog post. I could show some of those things we actually skipped earlier on. So I'm going to click on add new again. So what do I write on now? Maybe I should go back to ChatGPT to generate the content again, but then I need to decide what I want to write on. Let me write on, let's see if ChatGPT will give us something on maybe the jump that was written this year, the performance. Let's give it a shot. Write an article on jump 2023 and its general performance. Let's see if we will get some results with this prompt. Okay, so you can see ChatGPT is actually writing a content for us once again. I have written an article on JAM 2023 and its general performance, and it has titled it JAM 2023, a comprehensive review of performance and implications, which I'm actually going to copy. I think it's still writing, and then switch back here to my other tab and use that as my title. JAM 2023, a comprehensive review of performance and implications. I come back to ChatGPT. I think it's done writing now, as you can see. Then I can click on this copy icon like I did earlier to copy the entire content and use that as my body. Come to the body and paste. So I can erase this title since I have it up there already. So I have my body once again with the assistance of ChatGPT. So let's do those four things we took earlier on first before we come down to take some other things. Right under the setting icon, this sidebar under post. Now, this post I'm adding, I need to add it under a category. Don't forget we created politics earlier on. It's actually a one-time thing. You don't need to create politics again in case you're adding another post that falls under politics. You just come down here and check. But this post we're adding now doesn't fall under politics. Judging from it, it's supposed to actually fall under education. So I want to add a new category and actually call it education. And I hit the add new category button. So now I have education. So away from that, I have tags. We didn't take this earlier on. What are tags? Tags are keywords. I also refer to as keywords. From your story, you can actually generate keywords from a particular story and use them on this end. On this end now, I have JAM 2023, a comprehensive review of performance and implication. Automatically, JAM is a keyword from this story, since that is the exam, the writing we're talking about. So I can just type in JAM, hit the enter button. Another keyword I can generate from this can be admission. So that is the purpose of the exam itself. I have admission as a keyword. Because JAM is also written different years, I can also have JAM 2023 as a keyword beyond JAM itself, just to specify the year as a keyword. I can have the former name, I think UTME, as a keyword as well. So from each of the story, you can actually generate keywords, main things you feel are being talked about in the story itself. So away from that, now I need to add featured image. Featured image now, let me go online and see if I'll get an image for JAM and use that image as my featured image. So let me just download this. This is an image of students writing exam at the JAM Center. I'm going to download that. So if I come back to my post, I want to set that. I click on set featured image. It's brings me to my media library. If you don't have the image, you switch to upload files, where you can actually go to select the image you actually want uploaded or used as your featured image. So I have this. I can decide now to go to set featured image, the button at the bottom right corner. So I've done those 4 things again. Now I've added tags to it. Away from the featured image, there's another section called excerpt, which is like a summary or a sort of introduction to your story. You want to give people an insight into what the story is all about. You can do so here, but then we're not doing anything there. And then the last thing is the discussion. If you want people to comment, to interact, to like, with your story, the 2 buttons are checked. Advisably, you should leave them checked. So I have my story once more. And then another thing I'm going to bring in now, which we didn't talk about earlier, is the fact that we can actually add what we call body image. This is our story. What if after a particular paragraph, maybe after this paragraph for instance, I want an image to show before we proceed to the next paragraph. This is now beyond the featured image. For the featured image, you can only have one featured image. But then, what if you want an image to be part of the body? So I want to add an image here, for instance. You can see I hit the enter button. I want to add an image before we now continue with this performance and analysis. So I make sure I have my cursor where I want to add the image. And I click on this blue button that shows just beside this W, the plus. By clicking on the plus, I'm going to see different blocks, or what we call widgets, which we're going to be introduced to very well much more later. But then right there, just search for image. Under media, for instance, I have image. Beyond the image, I as well have category, which is basically a collection of images. But then I want to add an image. I click on image. I'm going to see this upload or media library. So if you have the image already, media library, if you're bringing it afresh, you click on upload. And in case you want to upload from a particular URL, you have the direct link to that image, you can. So if I go back online where I was before, maybe I save the image of the JAM logo, and I want to use that as the body image. I come back here now, I click on upload. Automatically it takes me to my file manager where I can select the image I want. You can see the JAM logo is being added here as a body image now, not featured image. You can also decide to resize the image if it's too big, too small. This two circle here, the two circle that has this blue highlight and the white inner. If I go there, left click on it, I always drag inward or drag outward. Why still left clicking? Depends on you. Why still left clicking? Inward and outward. And then beyond that, there's something here also known as align. You can always align. For instance, I have none now. I can align left. You can see I have stories even showing beside it. I can align center. I can align right. I can do wide width. I mistake to full width. I can do full width. So depending on whichever one you want, maybe I can use align left for instance. Let's stick with this, but everything falls back to you. But the point is, you can actually add body image. Body. To close this now, the sidebar on the left hand side, I just click on this X where I came to earlier on to click on the plus. So I have this showing as a body image. Body image. Another thing I want to show is the last thing before we leave here, still under the setting. If I click on this setting, I have the sidebar back under post. I can decide to also add what we call a subcategory. A subcategory. For instance, this story is actually under education already. What if I want to have subcategories under education? Maybe for instance, I want a category under education called tertiary. For instance, I'm just saying. So what do? You come down to this add new category button right here. You click on it, same way we did earlier on. I'm going to put tertiary. And then there's this section or segment for parents category. What do I do on that end? I'm going to select education to be the parents category. So practically I'm saying this new category I'm adding, which is tertiary, I want it to be under education. Then I proceed to click on add new category. You can see I have tertiary, but then right under education. So that's all on this end. We want to publish our story again. You go to the publish button, which is at the top right corner, like we did earlier on. Click on the publish. To ask you if you're ready to publish, you hit the publish button again. So our post is live. By the time I go back to the front end to refresh from having a single post now, I have two different posts showing. Jam 2023, a comprehensive review of performance and implications. President Tinubu emerges as ECOWAS chairman. So that's practically how you add a blog post. That is how you add a blog post.